We're back for another episode of the Spotlight podcast with Mr. Lee Murray, mentor, partner, advisor, all of the above. Thanks so much for coming on, Lee.
Yeah, Nick, this is great.
Yeah. So today, same structure for all these shows. We kind of take a look at a buyer journey. We put you in the CMO chair and get your reaction to, what's missing. And we're looking for that one big takeaway. Because I think a lot of people want to grow, that everyone wants more customers, more business, but don't understand that there's like multiple pieces that need to be in place to make that work. So we're letting them sit in on an advisory session with you.
I like it.
Sound good?
Yeah, strap in.
All right, let's pull this up. So the company we have today is called Venture Outdoors. It's a real company, but this is a totally hypothetical buyer journey we put together for them. So stages 1 through 3 are the attraction stages, like top of funnel. 4 and 5 are capture. So you figure out who the customer is, get contact information, understand what they want. And then 6 and 7 are where you actually ask for the purchase. But all of these need to happen to get to a buy. There's some holes in this guy. So if you're in the CMO chair, I come to you and I'm like, Lee, this is what I want to do. Where does your mind go? What do you see?
I mean, at first glance, I really like how it's laid out. I like having a free downloadable guide at the top. Because you got to get people's interest. Like, there's only 1 to 3%, depending on the market you're in, that's always in market that are ready to buy. They're there I think in the case of this company, they probably have 2 markets. There's a local market in the Florida area that people want to get outdoors. And then there's a tourist market that you're going to find through TripAdvisor or these other platforms. So it's very complicated actually, because they have to kind of market to both audiences in separate ways. So having a free downloadable guide, I think, can sort of bridge the gap between both of those audiences, which would be really good. Past the 1 to 3%, you have everybody else. You have 97% of the market that's not ready, but they're interested and want to follow and kind of be nurtured through the funnel, right? So downloadable guide, I could tell you from my personal experience, I took my family to Paris a year ago, and I downloaded and paid for a guide from, it's like My Paris Guide or whatever, from a YouTuber that I saw, who that's all he does is talk about different restaurants and different things. And so I paid $20 or whatever it was, and I had, pages and pages and pages of ideas from a guy who lives there. So this was, a year to 2 years before we even went on our trip. So I'm following his content. I'm digesting, I'm making my own spreadsheet. I mean, I might be a little different, but like, I like to plan everything out so I know, we're going to hit all the major things we want to do. So I think that's huge. As you move through the funnel, exclusive early bird booking, of course, you want to give them, something to have urgency to purchase, which is always, people have an appetite for some kind of incentive. So that's good. Personalized outdoor activity recommendations. Yes. And I think this kind of goes through from the middle to the bottom of the funnel, where this type of company really needs to think in terms of packages. Now, of course, it does get a little tricky on what you can upload to TripAdvisor versus what you can have on your website. Let's take that aside for a second, but just thinking in terms of how do you maximize the amount of money you make from each tour that comes through? And I think having packages where you have sort of a good, better, best, bare bones. You can come take the tour, you're going to learn stuff, and you're going to enjoy yourself on the water. And it's $69, whatever it is per person. But then you add a little bit of value and to the second package. And maybe you have a takeaway, some photos of you and, whoever you have with you in your tour, and some extra goodies that are going to go on top of it. And then maybe the top tier has a full tour video that goes with you. One idea would be, which I think would be awesome, is for them to put a 360 camera on the back of their kayak and just film the entire tour, which is probably a 2-hour tour, in 360 video, and upload that raw footage to YouTube. And if they do that, then
you can experience it.
It's password protected. So if they want to sell that as part of the top tier package, if you go on a tour when you're from Germany, let's say, you fly in, you go to Disney and you do the things, and you want a little bit of taste of the real, authentic Florida, and you have your entire tour 360 that you can zoom around for 2 hours, I mean, that's going to be huge value after you get home and you want to kind of relive your tour, your time back in Florida.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of great marketing too, though, right? I know you're positioning it as a value driver on the back end, which is awesome. But I'm putting
Yeah.
this up at like stage 2, and I'm just thinking, before you buy the tour, I mean, you downloaded your guide for Paris, and that broke down everything that you wanted to go and do and see. But we're kind of moving past the stage where you plan trips based on lists. Now there's visual media, there's video, there's much more engaging ways to kind of experience that. And when you put video out there, I mean, that's something that was definitely missing in the plan.
Yes.
Like, how do you get people to want to buy before they even get to looking at packages? And what's your
you're
reaction
going
there?
exactly where I was headed. And that is, if you think about your business first and how you can add value to your customers and have success and have retention, have, repeat business from your local people, and maybe even some of your tourists, then all of that you're spending time and effort on making the product really good can be utilized on the front end, up the funnel, to make the pre-experience, match up with their actual experience. So I would say the one big idea is video, just in general, because there's so many ways you can use video all through the funnel. And with the 360 specifically, you have so much footage there you're capturing, the alligator going in the water right by your kayak, right? Like that's a clip you can put on Instagram and add words to it and add sound to it and, add the experience and your brand style to it. So there's so much you can do with it. I mean, I'm a little bit biased because I run a content marketing agency, Signal Media, where we actually help, customers. Basically, we look at their buyer journey and we say, okay, where are your gaps? Let's fill those with content. Like, it can be written, but a lot of times it's video, as you're saying. Like, if you add that sort of immersible experience where people feel connected to whatever they're eventually going to buy, I think what it does is it makes it stand out in their world as it's the only option. And even more so, they get so connected to what they're doing through the video, all through, even if it's 2 years or if it's 2 minutes, they get so connected to it that it becomes sort of, this is the tour guide that's my tour guide. Like, I feel like I chose it, I know them, and they have never even met the tour guide, but they've watched so much video that they, you just think about it in terms of YouTubers, you feel like you know those people.
Yeah. How far, when you think about placement of video, where to introduce it, like, how far up the funnel do you go? Like, where do you put something like
funnel.
that?
Yeah,
Everywhere.
It's the entire funnel. Yeah, I mean, you got to think about. I mean, we talk about it a lot of times. Like, we're marketers and we're thinking in terms of a marketer, but we're people too, and we're consumers. And so, as a consumer, I'm stopped by a video on my phone, and then I'm pushed to another video, and that, I mean, it doesn't all have to be 2-hour-long videos. It doesn't all have to be 15-second long videos. It has to make sense in the context to how someone's finding you, how you're capturing their attention, and then how you're nurturing that attention over time. It always comes back to really understanding your customer and what it is that they're looking to get at, the value they're getting out of purchasing whatever you're selling. Because if you really understand that, then you can go back to this journey and say, okay, well, with our free downloadable guide, okay, that's going really well. We did that. It's a PDF and people are buying it or downloading it for free. What if we added some links in there to YouTube that would take them to the middle of the funnel?
To those pieces.
Right. And it would immerse them more into our brand and our guides or whatever it is you're doing. I mean, we're talking about a tour guide here, but it can work for any company.
Interesting. And then the big piece, and you said this a couple times throughout the conversation, was like how you interrupt them, how you capture their attention. I think that's where most of the businesses we're talking to are struggling. Like, they're great once people are focused on them, and even better once they're engaged and getting close to purchasing. But how have you seen companies use video to like pleasantly interrupt somebody and earn the opportunity to talk about what they actually do?
Yeah, well, I think it's a combination of really understanding what it is that you're bringing to market and the vision you have for what you want people to get from it. Because people want to be met with a vision. If it's stale and there's no real purpose that you're driving after, it's just about converting someone into something. We are looking for that as humans and consumers, we are going to sniff that out immediately. And it's not going to be as tasty as someone who's really, I mean, this is why, as a side note, this is why so many people get on board with that new YouTuber or Instagrammer or whoever it is that's starting, this is day one of whatever. Like, everybody loves that story. Of course, they fall off once they have success, and now you're the horrible person because you're a millionaire, right? But I think vision is very important, and then you have to marry that with the actual needs, like what people are actually looking for in the market. So there's a mix of saying, what is that people want? I need to ask questions, get feedback, be open to changing, and then I need to marry that with, here's what we're going to offer because we're unique, and we're unique in the market for this reason. And I think where that marries up in the middle is kind of practically is messaging and branding. And I would say even more practically is like your brand style. So your brand style, so what your videos look like, what your website looks like, how it's being used, user experience, all of that, how you're saying, what you're saying, that's going to be the bridge of the vision and the need. And it's going to make sense where someone can say, yes, I fit. Those are my people.
Interesting. And video, like particularly the smaller, like snippet versions, like that's your way to kind of give them a little piece of that value all the way up at the top. So you're both, applying that style, introducing yourself. That's your handshake, but you're giving them a little piece of what they will ultimately get. And that's how you win their attention. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes. And I think the way you get there is by starting with a broader sort of framework like this buyer's journey, right? If you start I think people don't even think about a buyer's journey, let alone work
on one. That's the purpose of the show. That's the purpose of the show.
Right. And so like if you just got a piece of paper out and copied what you had right there and just put, 6 to 12 squares and said, okay, what do I think is happening? Let's put that down. Now I'm going to go to work on verifying what's happening at the top of the funnel, middle funnel, bottom of the funnel. And I'm going to test. I'm going to verify and test. And I'm going to validate the fact that this is happening. And if I do this, I get a response. Then, so we're like now 3 or 4 steps into, actually getting to the answer to your question, right? You have to do all of these things in order to get there. Then once you get there, you can start to tweak and optimize to that particular ad in that particular creative in that particular link that converts to wherever.
It is a process. I think, that's the mission of the show, to end this. Well, I did this thing. Where are the sales? And it doesn't work that way. And you're going to let yourself down. You're going to let your bank down, let your team down. But at the same time, you build pieces of things. I'm sure you guys show this with video. Like, you could spend $10,000 on a single video that offsets $100,000 in advertising costs because you can break it up and you can use the video to move people along for free.
Yes.
Big value there.
Yes, 100%. I mean, video is one of those things that is an asset that can be purposed and repurposed. So it's not just about creating brand new content every single time you have a new idea.
Yeah. So how do people get in touch with you to start making stuff? What's the best way?
Yeah. So they can go to signalmedia.agency and all of our stuff's there. We help with video, podcast, and some written content. We focus on the buyer's journey too. When we meet with people, it's like, okay, let's look at if you have one or don't have one, let's sort of map it out. What is happening? And then where are your gaps? And, if they come to me with a need and say, hey, we need more sales. Okay, well, let's explore that. And if you really do need more sales, let's focus in there first. Let's try to get more conversions to leads or to to your opportunity funnel. Or if it's brand, we're going to focus on, well, we need more attention. We need more awareness. And then it's mapping that out for your marketing team or for your entire team and saying, we need to really think about this bigger picture, longer term, and then work on it short, individual clips, working towards that bigger roadmap. So yeah, I mean, helping people think about the strategy and then execute it with content.
Actually build that piece. Yeah. I think a lot of people are trying to figure out a way to do that, and having a guide that can also produce is a huge asset. So
that's right.
We'll get your link up at the end of this guy and send some folks your way. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Good. Yeah. Thanks
Appreciate
a lot.
it.